The forest was alive with sound, but not the kind that comforted. The wind whispered through the skeletal branches, carrying with it the faint rustle of dead leaves skittering across the cracked earth. Somewhere nearby, a distant crow cawed, its cry sharp and lonely against the heavy silence. Fresh Spawn crouched low behind a fallen log, breath shallow, senses stretched taut, like a drawn bowstring. Each snap of a twig sent a jolt through his body. His heart hammered in his chest, pounding like a frantic drumbeat in the quiet. The cold night air bit at his exposed skin, but the chill was nothing compared to the icy grip of fear crawling up his spine. He could feel it, the presence hunting him. "It's the milkman, baby." The voice was a whisper carried by the wind, yet it echoed in his mind like a death knell. The words slithered through the trees, a twisted lullaby that promised nothing but doom. Fresh Spawn's eyes darted frantically, searching the shadows that danced just beyond the reach of his flickering flashlight. The beam trembled in his grasp, casting long, distorted shapes on the gnarled trunks. The forest was a maze of sound, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the distant drip of water from a broken pipe, the faint hum of insects settling into the night. But beneath it all, a sinister rhythm pulsed, slow, deliberate footsteps, measured and unyielding. "I'm super friendly." The phrase slithered into the air with a sickly sweetness, a cruel mockery of kindness. Fresh Spawn swallowed hard, his throat dry. His fingers clenched the makeshift spear tighter, knuckles whitening. Every nerve screamed at him to run, but the forest seemed to close in, thick with shadows and secrets. The milkman's presence was a sensory assault. The faint clink of glass bottles, swinging from a battered leather satchel, the soft slap of worn boots against damp earth, the almost imperceptible jingle of keys. Each sound was a thread weaving a tapestry of terror around the survivor. Fresh Spawn's ears caught the subtle shift, a breath, shallow and ragged, just beyond the tree line. His heart skipped. The world narrowed to the sounds of his own ragged breathing, the rustle of his clothes, the pounding of his heart. He forced himself to listen, to the world, to the hunt. Suddenly, the milkman's voice cut through the stillness again, closer this time, a sinister melody. "It's the milkman, baby." Fresh Spawn's muscles tensed. He pressed himself flat against the cold log, willing the darkness to swallow him whole. The scent of damp earth and pine filled his nostrils, mingling with a faint, sour tang. The unmistakable smell of stale milk and madness. A shadow moved. The milkman emerged from the gloom, eyes wild and gleaming with a madness that chilled the soul. His grin was wide, teeth bared like a predator's. In one hand, he brandished a rusty cleaver. In the other, a battered milk bottle, its contents sloshing ominously. "I'm super friendly," he hissed, voice dripping with menace. Fresh Spawn's breath caught in his throat. Time seemed to slow, every sound magnified. The scrape of metal on wood, the soft thud of the milkman's boots, the distant howl of a lone wolf. The forest held its breath. Survival was a fragile thread, a delicate dance on the edge of oblivion. Fresh Spawn sprang to his feet, sprinting through the underbrush, branches clawing at his face, roots threatening to trip him. Behind him, the milkman's laughter echoed, a twisted, joyous sound that promised pain. The night swallowed them both. Branches tore at Fresh Spawn's jacket and scraped his skin raw as he plunged deeper into the forest's heart. The cold night air grew heavier, thick with the scent of damp moss and decaying wood. His lungs burned with each ragged breath, but he dared not slow. The distant call of an owl was swallowed by the pounding of his own heartbeat and the relentless footsteps closing in behind him. It's the milkman, baby, the voice whispered again, closer now, dripping with cruel amusement. The words crawled beneath his skin, igniting a primal terror that fueled his desperate flight. Leaves crunched underfoot, twigs snapped like brittle bones, and the soft jingle of the milkman's keys rang out, a haunting melody that promised no mercy. Fresh Spawn's hands trembled as he clutched his spear, eyes scanning for refuge. A hollowed-out tree trunk offered a momentary sanctuary. He slipped inside, pressing his back against the rough bark, every muscle coiled tight. Outside, the footsteps slowed, then stopped. Silence stretched taut, broken only by the distant drip of water and the faint rustle of leaves. I'm super friendly, the milkman's voice hissed, a poisonous lullaby that curled around Fresh Spawn's mind. The survivor's breath hitched, sweat mingling with the grime on his face. The forest seemed to close in, shadows shifting and twisting like living things. Time stretched, every second an eternity as he waited, heart pounding, senses screaming. Then, a low chuckle echoed,